Hello everybody, how are you doing today? My name is ActTG, and today we're going to continue with the Chapter 2 class trial. So, let's continue on with the trial.
My reasons hardly matter right now. Uncovering the culprit is much more important, wouldn't you say? Now then, if it wasn't me, who was it?
Well, I don't think I can say for sure without talking about it a little more.
We're seriously gonna keep going? We're all good, aren't we? I thought it was clear Biafia did it.
Not really, I doubt he did the actual killing. I mean, sure, he tried to frame Genocide Jack, but I don't think he did the actual killing.
No, I'm with Makoto. If there's any doubt whatsoever, we need to explore every possibility, because if we're wrong, we all die here.
That's true. Very well then. I'm with you too.
Damn straight. Count me in.
Do you not have a mind of your own?
Of course I do. What am I, an ant or something?
Anyway, let's discuss this all as a group one more time. We still have time to make our decision.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Our lives are all on the line.
Excellent. Then shall we resume our game of hide and seek?
But if Byakuya didn't do it, then who's the real killer? Who murdered Chihiro? There's one thing we can be sure that we know about the killer. The killer was able to gain access to the real murder scene. Which means... well, it's definitely not Genocide Jack. So the only people who have access to the boys' locker room would have to be a guy.
I got it!
He dies. Since the crime scene was the boys' locker room, you would need a boy's handbook to get in. Since Leon's handbook is apparently broken, the killer would have had to use their own. In other words, it had to have been a guy. But that's still not enough. I need to find some more clues. So, time for a non-stop debate. And we have Celeste's account.
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
No.
Well,
I forgot about the silent.
But did nobody get a look at the killer?
I'm sure if someone saw the killer, they would have said something by now.
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
It's over. It's all over. You want to know who saw the victim? The killer. And only the killer.
Nope.
No, that's wrong.
There is a witness.
I believe someone else did see the victim before he was murdered. What do you think, Celeste?
Now that you mention it, yes. I did see him.
Huh? Really?
Oh, but I suppose only Makoto knows about this. The rest of you had no idea, did you? That is why you're all making such ugly noises.
Okay, what is wrong with the sound quality now? Okay, it's been happening during the last part as well. I have no idea what's up with the sound quality of the voices.
Whatever! Just hurry up and tell us!
It was last night, right before nighttime. I saw Chihiro in the dormitory warehouse. I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duffel bag.
Okay, maybe the voice quality got all bad for just Trial 2 only. Maybe.
And then, I assume, he headed off to exercise.
A track jacket and a duffel bag? But we didn't find anything like that at the murder scene.
It seems likely that the culprit destroyed them to get rid of any evidence.
And that is when he said something that struck me as rather odd.
Well, I better get going. I'm kind of in a hurry.
Chihiro told me he was in a hurry. But why would he be in a hurry? Only if someone were waiting for him, I should think.
So, Mr. Fujisaki was on his way to meet with someone, and then they were going to work out together?
But Hina and I had invited him to exercise with us plenty of times, and he always declined.
Must be with the real killer then.
Probably because he was afraid you'd find out the secret he was hiding, right?
Which means that conversely, he must have trusted whoever he was meeting with very much, enough so that he was willing to risk his secret being revealed.
Oh, what a marvelous friendship! The point is, whoever he met up with is the culprit, right? So we just gotta figure out who it was.
But knowing what we know, I can't even guess.
No. You already have what you need to make the connection.
Huh?
You know who the killer is.
Seriously? Who is it? Who's the killer?
Think back to the track jacket and duffel bag the killer disposed of. Focus on the details of these items, and it should become obvious who was waiting for him.
Are you sure about that? You really think we can figure out who did it based on 2 pieces of evidence that we don't have?
What? You want to track down some fingerprints or something?
Even if we had the equipment for that, we wouldn't know how to use it.
As was noted, the evidence is already gone. There's nothing to get fingerprints from.
Maybe, but we can make certain inferences if we just take the time to talk it out.
Easy for you to say, but fine. Celeste, did you notice anything special about the bag or jacket?
The bag was just a normal duffel bag from the warehouse. All the bags in there are the same, so I can't imagine what would make that one special.
Okay, so we just have to focus on the track jackets.
Well, if I remember right, there was a decent variety of tracksuits to choose from. Do you think there might be some connection between the culprit and Chihiro's jacket?
Might as well be.
Perhaps. Let's explore that and talk a bit more about the jacket he took.
Does Chihiro's track jacket really hold some clue about the killer? Somehow, it's really hard to believe. Okay, time for another non-stop debate. Another Celeste account.
First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exercise.
Yeah?
So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing.
Really?
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue
Wait a
tracksuit as
minute,
him?
wait a minute, hold on.
My tracksuit is black.
Dang, I missed.
Shoot!
Yeah, that was the wrong
First
statement.
of all, we know where he was on his way, so next week, why did he choose?
What do you mean, the...
I got it! It matched
I'm
the
being
one...
too rash
So,
again.
the killer was wearing the...
My tracksuit is black.
I don't even have a tracksuit. Cause exercising sucks.
I have a white tracksuit, personally. I got it from the warehouse, if you must know.
Did any of that really help us get any closer to figuring out who the culprit is?
No way. Not a chance.
You heard him, right? What he just said without even realizing it?
She's right. What he said just now is really odd. How did he know something like that?
First of all, we know where Chihiro
I
was
think
on his
I've
way,
got
so next week,
a
why
good
did he
idea
choose?
here.
What do you mean, the
Because
specific
I don't think
I got it!
Celeste...
He picked that? It matched the one the culprit was wearing.
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue...
When did Celeste ever mention the color blue, other than Monado? No, sorry, other than...
Hold on a second,
Makoto.
Mondo. What did you just say?
Huh? What'd I say?
When Celeste testified a few minutes ago, she said...
I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duffel bag, and then I assumed he headed off to exercise.
She never said anything about the jacket's color. So why did you say Chihiro's blue tracksuit?
What are you... You just...
Hey, Celeste, what color was Chihiro's tracksuit?
As a matter of fact, it was blue.
And before we began the trial, Did you tell anyone that?
The only one I told about any of this was you.
Then, Mondo, how did you know what color Chihiro's tracksuit was?
Uh-oh.
Because I'm sure he saw the clothes at some point in the investigation.
No, that can't be it.
No. None of us have found the track jacket or the duffel bag.
The bag and clothes were surely disposed of by the time we began our investigation.
Then the only reason he could have known what color the tracksuit was is if he saw Cherry with it before he died. That's the only possibility. Cherry? Are you talking about Chihiro? So, how about it? Did you see the tracksuit or didn't you?
Just by chance. I just happened to see it last night. He walked past me, and he was carrying the tracksuit in his hands.
No, that can't be it either. According to Celeste's
It was
testimony...
hidden in the duffel bag. She stuffed the jacket into her bag in a hurry. It was almost like she was trying to hide it. And just like that, she was gone.
When Celeste noticed it, Chihiro made a point of making sure the jacket was completely in the bag. If you just ran into him briefly, you couldn't possibly have seen what color the tracksuit was.
It would appear you've dug your own grave.
Perhaps. But you handed him the shovel, didn't you? That's why you said what you did. Focus on the tracksuit and it'll be obvious who he met with? What a bunch of nonsense.
Ah, now I understand. It was all one big bluff, wasn't it? Your true intention was to draw a slip of the tongue from the culprit. That's why you said you knew who did it, to put them on edge.
That's right. However, Mondo was my target all along. I had my suspicions about him from the very beginning.
But why? What made you so suspicious?
That's a good question.
It was probably because of, you don't hate him, no. I think for me, it was just because of one slip of the tongue at the beginning of the investigation.
There was a certain turning point that tipped me off. Maybe you didn't notice it, Mondo, but you tend to refer to men and women differently. You only call guys dude. For girls, it's chick.
Yeah, in the beginning of the investigation, you called Chihiro dude.
And after he was killed, you happened to refer to him as dude.
Yep.
Once I picked up on that, it occurred to me that Mondo knew something we didn't.
Yeah, up until now, or up until the gender was revealed, I thought this was just a simple little typo, or one of the major ones. Oh, obviously it's not.
You noticed such a tiny detail? Are you a witch? She's a witch! You're positively frightful!
No, I'm not the frightful one. Not nearly as frightful as someone capable of murdering a friend.
Mondo, was it really you? Did you really kill Chihiro?
I didn't kill anyone! You've been all over me, judging everything I say, putting words in my mouth. What gives you the right to treat me like a goddamn criminal?
Yeah! He would never do something like that! This is a false accusation!
It's true. My reasoning on that is pretty shaky.
That was fast.
Well, this does present us with a problem. It seems we are all out of leads.
My time has nearly come. That's what my little ghost friend is telling me.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Hifumi, weren't you telling me you'd found some evidence?
Really? What kind of evidence? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it here calmly, it might not be all that relevant.
Just show the dang evidence already.
Jeez, did your confidence just get up and walk away? It's fine, man. Just tell us.
If you really insist, then, here it is. What do you have there? It happens to be an e-handbook. I found it laying on the ground, so I scooped it up.
You found it on the ground, right? Then it must belong to Chihiro!
I got it! We know Chihiro's handbook was missing from the scene of the crime, right?
For a fact.
For a fact indeed. I was totally sure I'd found it. Then it must hold some clue about the culprit, right? Well, that's what I was hoping. But it's busted. It won't
even turn on.
Great, so now that's 2 handbooks that's busted.
I imagine the culprit broke it to get rid of any evidence after the murder.
That's odd. I didn't think the handbooks were quite so fragile.
You're right. They're not. They're totally waterproof and shock resistant. It would take an awful lot to break one.
And yet, this one does appear to be broken, as is Leon's, sitting useless in the main hall.
Okay, so the handbooks only have 1 weak point, and after that weak point is exposed to that, it breaks. So for 2 to have been broken easily like that, it's gotta be the same person who broke it. There's just no way it's a coincidence in my eyes.
For all your confidence, that is a remarkably high failure rate.
Do you think there might be some kind of mystery in there somewhere? How precisely did the handbooks get broken?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question right there. How did the handbook break? Well, there's only one possible explanation. By hitting the weak point, pretty much.
I got it! You already told us before that the handbook has 1 weak point, didn't you?
Yeah! You remember that?
Of course I do, it's such an important little detail.
Sure, maybe I let that slip, but I never told anyone what the weak point actually was.
But if the handbook is supposed to never break, and 2 of them broke in quick succession...
Yeah, really
then...
quick succession.
Then we can only assume that someone's figured out its weakness. You know what the weakness is, right, Monokuma? So, what is it?
Huh? You're asking me?
I think it's a necessary piece of information if you want this to be a fair trial.
But if I tell you, and someone else decides to copy it, that would be very not good.
Just tell us already. Why would we want to break our own handbooks?
Oh well, I have a weakness for pushy demands. But you're sure you won't follow their example? Then allow me to make a special announcement. The weak point of my cutting-edge e-handbook is... when it's exposed to high temperatures for too long, it will suffer a meltdown and totally break!
And yeah, that just further proves it's Mondo that actually did it.
I flippin' knew it!
You knew it?
Yeah, 'cause I found the handbook laying on the floor of the sauna. The temperature in the sauna can reach over 200 degrees. Strange how you don't get burnt, huh? It's because as your sweat evaporates, it creates a cooling layer of air around your skin. If the hot air of the sauna were somehow pushed directly onto your skin, you'd definitely get fried. That layer of air would get blown away. That's why you may feel a burning when you move around. So when you're in a sauna, make sure to keep nice and still.
Interesting. I learned one new fact today.
That is a mere trifling speck of knowledge.
Anyway, if you found the victim's handbook in the sauna, then the killer must have been purposely trying to raise its temperature in order to break it.
Yeah.
Meaning the culprit somehow knew its weakness.
But how'd they find out? Monokuma said he didn't tell anyone, right?
Indeed. Quite the mystery.
What if they found out by accident?
Yeah.
What do you mean by accident?
What if the killer took their own handbook into the sauna, not knowing its weakness, and it broke? They'd realize it was broken, of course, and it wouldn't be hard to figure out why. And once they had Chihiro's handbook, they knew they had an easy way to dispose of it.
I won't say it's not possible, but who would have done something like that?
I can think of 2 people, and one of them happens to be the main suspect right now.
I don't know of anyone who took their handbook into the sauna.
I might know someone who did.
Whoa! Seriously?
I think the one who may have taken their handbook into the sauna was...
Who might have brought their handbook into the sauna? It had to be the one who wore all their clothes into the sauna. It was... Well, of course, he just said that's the one who wore all the clothes in the sauna, so it's not Kiyotaka. The only suspect left is Mondo.
Here's my answer. Mondo. Your handbook got broken in the sauna, didn't it?
What? Why? Why do you keep accusing him?
Mondo and Taka had an endurance contest in the sauna not too long ago, remember? And for the contest, Mondo just so happened to keep his school uniform on. But little did he realize, he'd also left his handbook in one of his uniform pockets. And when it was all over, Mondo discovered that taking your handbook into the sauna could easily destroy it.
No, wait, hold on. You've got it all wrong. He would never kill. I don't accept this. Show me the proof. The actual solid proof.
I mean, I don't want to believe it either, but I found something that proves it beyond the shadow of a doubt. Alright, time for non-stop debate. Okay.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all!
What?
Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
I'm sure Mondo's handbook broke during their sauna showdown. If I could just prove that, then that would show that the handbook Mondo has must actually be.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo,
Okay, so which
you
statement do
broke
I
your own handbook.
get off?
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
No, that's wrong.
Nope, it's not. Because I got your handbook right here.
Mondo, the handbook you have right now, is it really yours?
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
The broken handbook that was in the main hall, isn't that one actually yours?
What the heck are you talking about?
What I mean is, I think Mondo swapped his handbook out for one that actually works. I think he took Leon's handbook and replaced it with his own. After all, Monokuma said himself that Leon's handbook never should have broken.
That's right! The punishment it suffered wasn't nearly enough to destroy it.
So then, the broken handbook in the main hall is actually Mondo's, which would mean that the handbook Mondo has right now is actually Leon's, yes?
But doesn't that violate the school regulation that says loaning out your handbook is prohibited?
No. Did we just prove that earlier? That you can borrow a dead student's handbook?
Well, here's how I look at it. There is a rule about loaning your handbook to another student, but if they're dead, they're not a student. It's kind of a gray area, I admit. But no worries. If anything, it just makes things more interesting. As such, I decree that exchanging handbooks with a corpse is not a violation of the rules.
Well, Mondo, if I'm wrong about this, you're welcome to say so. I'm happy to admit I made a mistake, but...
Son of a bitch! What's wrong, bro? Come on! Tell him he's wrong! You are wrong! You have to be wrong! Everything you just said is wrong! You made it all up!
Okay, then why don't we look back on this case one more time, from the beginning? That way, everything will become clear, and we'll all see if I was right or wrong.
Oh, time for another manga moment! Closing argument, begin. Alright, so it kind of looks like Chihiro was packing the blue tracksuit, and he just happened to know Celeste. And I think he kind of looked like he was rushing to hide the jumpsuit. That's what it looks like to me. Let me see what this says first. Celeste saw Chihiro in the warehouse with a duffel bag and rushed to hide it in. And then ran away. Act 2. There's something everyone has that you need to get into the locker rooms. So I got the key card, or like the handbook. And I think Chihiro used it to get inside the locker room. Yeah, I think this makes more sense, like that. Well, it's either this one or this one for that. I'm just gonna go with this because it actually shows in and how Chihiro was going in the locker room. Then Chihiro met with the killer. What's this? The weapon the killer used was, well, of course. Yeah, the killer went up to pick up the barbell. And swung and bang. Are there any more like that? I think the blood actually got on this. What looks like. As the murder took place, some blood spattered onto something, didn't it? Oh yeah, the poster. Then the killer looked shocked at seeing Chihiro's dead body and rushed to clean off the scene. So I think they just tore down the poster, rolled up the carpet, and took Chihiro's body over to the girls' locker room, where actually used another handbook to get inside. And, of course, set the scene up. Yeah, that's all fine and well for the culprit. Unfortunately, if only it was simple as that. Nope, Blikuya happened to walk into the scene and thought of blaming Genocide Jack. So he pretty much brought the extension cord, tied him up, wrote the message, and that's that. And then Act 5, where did the killer go after they were done? Went all the way to the sauna and disposed of the handbook, Chihiro's handbook, the same way he did him. So let me check just to make sure everything looks fine. Which locker room? Yeah. So it has to be this one. You know, I think this looks fine. So let's reenact this.
The killer is you! First, let's take a look back to before the incident. Last night, Celeste saw Chihiro in the warehouse, correct? At the time, she was apparently stuffing something into a duffel bag.
You know, I really like this music.
That something was a blue tracksuit. You can confirm this, right, Celeste?
Celeste? No answer?
With
okay.
bag in hand, Chihiro headed out, even though it was officially nighttime. She made her way to the locker room, specifically the boys' locker room. But how could the victim, who was apparently a girl, access the boys' locker room? simple, because she was really a he, which is why he was able to use his own e-handbook to gain entrance to the boys' locker room. Once inside, he met with someone there, and the person he met was the one who killed him. It seems likely that the killer grabbed the nearby dumbbell, approached the unsuspecting Chihiro, and attacked him. And that's where the bloodstains on the poster and carpeting in the boys' locker room came from.
Oh no.
It was likely in the heat of the moment. The body was arranged, but the murder itself felt unplanned. Which is why the killer hurried to try and hide the act. First, pulling up the bloodstained carpet, then removing the bloody poster, and finally carrying the corpse into the girls' locker room. A girl's handbook was necessary to get into the locker room, of course, but this alone doesn't prove that the killer was necessarily a girl.
Yeah, that's right, since he can easily borrow one of the other two dead girls' handbooks.
After all, Sayaka and Junko's handbooks had been placed in the main hall. Using one of those, a boy could get into the girls' locker room without much problem. And that's exactly how the killer did it. With the carpet and the poster they brought with them, they got to work. They changed the layout of the boys' and girls' locker room in what you might call a crime scene switch. That could have been the end of things, but no.
Okay, I have a question here. How exactly did Boyaka stumble upon the body exactly? Like, he just went into the girls' room? Like, what reason we had to go to the girls' locker room?
Byakuya discovered the body and decided to intervene in the situation, making things even more complicated. So, after stumbling on the crime scene, he went and grabbed the extension cord from the library, and then he got to work. He used the cord to string up Chihiro's lifeless body. Then, using the victim's own blood, he left a grisly message there at the scene of the crime. He wanted to create the illusion that Genocide Jack was responsible for the slaughter. And around the same time that Byakuya was putting together this facade, the killer, having already disposed of Chihiro's bag and other belongings, arrived at the sauna. There, they planned to destroy the last piece of evidence, Chihiro's handbook.
I'm just curious, how exactly did the killer dispose of the duffel bag and the tracksuit?
And just as the killer expected, the steamy sauna was enough to ruin the electronic gadget. Somehow, the killer knew that the handbook couldn't stand up to the heat of the sauna. And the reason they knew that is because the sauna had already wrecked their own handbook. And that's how it all played out.
Isn't that right, Mondo?
Isn't that right, Mondo Arata?
Gotcha.
Wait! No! This can't be right! Where's your evidence? Yeah! Where's your evidence? You need evidence! You need proof! Without any proof, you can't pin any of this on him!
Evidence that Mondo is the killer. That already revealed itself earlier in the trial. If I could somehow show where Mondo's handbook is right now, once I do that, everything will become clear. A new element has been added to bullet time battles. Would you like to hear more? Oh, sure! Let's talk a little bit about Fever Time and Nega Time. During a bullet time battle, if you press the R1 button, Fever Time will activate and the tempo will be forced to its max. At this point, even if you push the buttons at random, you won't miss. So you can push X, square, however you want to destroy the opponent's verbal assault. But this only lasts until your focus gauge runs out, so make the best possible use of your time. Of course, it wouldn't be fair if only you got access to special time, right? So we've also prepared something called Nega Time that your opponent can use. If the opponent activates Nega Time during the bullet time battle, your tempo marker will disappear, making it quite a bit tougher to hit the buttons in rhythm. Oh boy. If you were to activate Fever Time at this point... No, never mind, I'm sure nothing would happen. I don't know what I was worried about. Unsurprisingly, if your action difficulty is set to Gentle, the opponent won't use Nega Time. Well then, good luck and have fun. Okay, so we got a tougher rhythm battle here.
Show me some evidence. You're wrong. I won't listen. I refute you. False.
Oh, dang it.
Show me some evidence. I won't listen. False. I refuse to vote. Show me some evidence. You're wrong. I won't listen. I refute you! False! Show me some evidence! Show me some evidence!
This should prove it!
Gotcha! Oh, come on!
Thinking so far is right.
Really? It just had to do the drop frames right at this critical moment. Oh, hold on for a second. I have to